Okay, part 4 of our 4 video on how to make your life totally awesome. Central crawling patterns in happy hip hack. Okay, we saved the best for last. So again, we're not standing here on our own. We're the product of a millennia of evolution or God's glorious design, or however you want to see the world. I don't really mind. But we have these things called central generator patterns in us. So in other words, basically, you're standing here, no one taught you how to walk, okay? You just self-taught yourself how to crawl and walk, and it's just pre-programmed into you. If we take MRIs of people's brains, or if we look at people, we're remarkably similar. Well, what gives? Well, these are these central patterns and themes that just, if we don't get in the way, they express themselves usually very healthily. And hopefully we're all blessed enough to be very, very healthily with our genetic patterns healthily expressed, because not everyone is as fortunate as I am, that's for sure. So anyway, what we want to do is, like, how did you learn to crawl? Who told you how to crawl? We have these things called central generator patterns, and which is kind of weird, like where does movement even come from? But as a baby, we sort of learn right hand, left hand, right hand. It's kind of discombobulated. We learn flexion. And then at some stage, we learn to roll over, which is an important skill, learning how to roll or transverse movement. This is one of the reasons why we like drag and roll. A lot of people never rolled over as a baby. You sort of lay on your back. Your parents sat you up. They put you in a chair to feed you, and then put you in the car seat, and then you got up and worked, and you never really had the space or the luxury of rolling around on the floor. So drag and roll could be quite good for you if you think you're not very good at rotation. Okay, but anyway, that's in the first video, or second video. Okay, so anyway, here we are, and we have the central generator pattern. So now the baby goes in its stomach, it learns to arch its back, it learns that arching your back lifts your head to look forward, which is a very, very, very important pattern to do, and we learn to crawl. Now, what is crawling? So a lot of times we'll talk about cross-crawling patterns, and certainly you probably, if you've ever had back pain or been to physio, they'll have you doing bird dog. So you put this knee, this hand on the ground, and then this hand's up, right? That bird dog is and we have a thing called a posterior oblique sling. So posterior oblique sling is this shoulder to this glute. So that's your posterior oblique sling. So it's very, very common for people to recognize the importance of that. Okay, and it's true. So when we crawl, this knee and this hand is on the floor. But what is also happening is, as we crawl, is this knee extends away from this hand, or this elbow and knee, because they kind of map better than your feet. So hands moving away from foot, elbows moving away from knee, and interestingly enough, shoulder moves away from hip. Why did your shoulder move away from hip? Well, because fishes. Okay, so we used to be fish-like. We lived in the primordial soup, or the primordial sea, and fishes use lateral movement from side to side. That's one of the reasons you're ticklish on the side, because fish have a lateral line, apparently, and so when they touch each other, they all flick, and that's one of the reasons they all swim together. Okay, so if I touch you on your side, you're likely to be ticklish, because it's remnant of your fishy life. Okay, so fishes move from side to side. Okay, crocodiles have short arms, long torsos, and they crawl from side to side. So that's that hip and shoulder moving away from each other. It's the trunk, side to side trunk bending. Your lower back is not designed to rotate. Your lower back is designed to go from side to side and have a coupled movement. So as we bend to the side, it rotates. And we have this crocodile crawling pattern, and then we have a baby pattern. Okay, so 3 patterns, all strongly suggesting that when you move, you should be rocking from side to side. Okay, and so you can practice these crawling patterns. I'll do a video of the crawling patterns really, really slowly. So lying down, you can learn these sort of crawling patterns gently on the floor, flip over, learn them on your stomach, then learn them crawling, and then learn them standing. But a really easy way to get central crawling patterns into your life and into your body is just the happy hip hack. Okay, so happy hip hack works like this. I'm going to stand. I'm going to use both hands, and don't be handsy. The happy hip hack is more shoulder to hip connection. Okay, so what happens is, as I step, my shoulder moves away from my hip, and then my shoulder moves away from my hip, and that's the happy hip hack. Okay, so here we go: shoulder away from hip, shoulder away from hip, shoulder away from hip. Don't be handsy. It's quite funny. You'll see someone that does yoga, it goes like this is my happy hip pattern. Yeah, no, that's yoga. Or sometimes people have it discombobulated because you're so used to doing crossover reflexes that you're sort of stepping with the opposite side because your brain is mapped that it's vitally important that your right and left hand work together, which is obviously true. Okay, but happy hip hack is this shoulder moves away from your hip. So we can do happy hip hack forwards, and most people get that. Make sure your heel is on the ground. So it's hip to heels to hip to shoulder to hand. Okay, it's length. This hand goes away from that heel. You should be able to happy hip backwards, and it can be hard. Remember, as I step backwards, okay, my shoulder needs to be away from my hip on the back leg. And you might find it's very difficult for you to happy hip hack backwards. Just keep practicing. It comes pretty quickly. Okay, almost everyone can get happy hip forward. This ties into how we learn belly button towards lead leg without overthinking it, because it just sets you up for the perfect pattern. You do happy hip hack, your running will be, you'll step onto your lead leg, you'll have the perfect amount of right to left. It sort of takes away this nuance of anterior chain and posterior chain. You have a really, really balanced chain. I do suggest you do some flow rope or backward figure of 8 shoulder movements just to open up and get your shoulders off your hips, but happy hip hack does that for you. So there's that. Now, how do we integrate it into running? Well, you can totally run and happy hip hack at the same time. I really, really like happy hip hack and tire walking. So we have a tire behind us. As you step, you're strengthening your glutes. One of the things happy hip hack does is it lengthens your psoas, which is a tonic muscle. And tonic muscles often are tight and reactive. So a lot of people's hip flexors and psoas are tight and reactive. You lengthening your psoas as you're driving forward with your phasic muscle, your glutes. And phasic muscles, when they get dysfunctional, they switch off. That's why everyone's got tight psoas and switched off glutes. Okay, happy hip hack, you're literally stepping out of the pattern of that sort of dysfunctional pattern. By walking or having a tire with resistance and doing the happy hip hack, you're basically strengthening your glutes while you're taking away their inhibitors. Okay, so it's a really, really powerful sort of twofer. And the other thing that you can do with happy hip hack is skipping. So here I am skipping along, that's skipping. You can learn to skip with a happy hip hack. So I'm going skip, skip, skip. And then that is basically perfect timing for running. So there we go, happy hip hack, it's just awesome. Make sure you go through the other 3 videos on how to awesomeize your life. Make sure you if you're interested and you feel that this gives you big benefit, kind of comment below and share your experience, because you're going to see some pretty powerful experiences in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe to yourself, and put notifications on for the universe so that when the universe talks, you're aware, and the universe is trying to work for you, or God, or however you happen to see the world. It's not for me to judge and impart my vision on your vision, but make sure that you're open to help, because it's there, it's all the time. You just have to be open to it. Remember, it's easier to be change than to change, and make sure you try and create an environment around you that is positive so that you can express your awesome self, because you are totally worth it. And happy hip hack is one powerful way to get to express your authentic self. Okay, we'll do a deep dive on my podcast about the nature of crawling patterns, your mammalian brain, your reptilian brain, how powerfully it impacts your psycho-emotional state and your sort of framing work. And I think it's really, really important that we sort out these central generator patterns, because not only do we move better, protect our joints, protect our back, protect our knees, we also protect our mental and emotional state. Okay, so get out there, get after it. You're totally worth it. And let's spread the love and make the world a better place, one happy hip hack at a time.